بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. As we mentioned before, we are going through this blessed journey about the Asma'ullah al-Husna, and every episode and every time we are knowing more and more. And at the beginning, I would like to send my great thanks to my daughters who sent me their essay about the Asma'ullah al-Husna, and especially to Laraib. Laraib, she's mashallah doing a great job. She wrote an essay about the last three names. We talk about the creator, the originator, and the fashioner. She did a really great job. I'd like to welcome her and to tell her Barakallahu Fiki. The most important, I would like to recall from last time, the three previous names was very related to each other. The creator, the most important message that I want you always to remember when you have these three names together, the creator is mean the existing and creating from non-existence, which means it was not present before. And the originator is the one who created with perfection, with no any defects. And the fashioner is the one who makes the design specialized for every creature to can cope in the life. Today, inshallah, we're going to have four names. Actually, they are very related to each other. That's why I preferred to took them at the same session. And to be clear for every one of you, when you read these names, not to be in a type of not thinking well about them. So we have our hadith that we are always start with. Allah Messenger Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam say, verily Allah has 99 names, 100 but one. Whosoever knows each and every one of them, believed in them, as we mentioned, and works according to them. This is our message. So we'll enter the paradise. Okay, so we'll start today, inshallah. The first name we have today is the first. Actually, the ayah we're going to have now is having the four names that we're going to take this episode. The first, or al-awwal, this is in Arabic, al-awwal. This is one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the translation in English is the first. What is the definition of the first? The first is the one who is the first and foremost. And he was before all the creation and the cause of everything in existence. The one before everything, If you're gonna try to think by your mind, what's before everything in the world, in the creatures, you will find your mind will stop at Allah. It was Allah, as Prophet Muhammad said in the Hadith Sahih. It was Allah. Then everything after Allah was created. So Allah was the originator, as we mentioned. So now we're going back to the name of Allah, Al-Awwal, how to know the name of Allah in Quran and Sunnah. We'll find this ayah. I hope that we are going to memorize this ayah today, because we're going to repeat it in the four names, because actually it had the four names in Surah Al-Hadid, ayah number 3. He is the first, he is the last, the all outwards, the all inwards, and he is of all things knowing. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. We're going to repeat this ayah because we're going to have all the names today with us. So this is for the Quran, mentioned this name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we're going to the Sunnah by Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, hadith sahih by Muslim. He said it was like a supplication of Allah. Oh Allah, you are the first without any preceding you. You are the last. There is none to succeed you. You are the all outward with none being above you. And you are the all inward with nothing more penetrating than you. We're going through all this today, inshallah, the names, and how we're going to know the implications of such name in our daily activities and daily life. Now we'll start with the name of Al-Awwal, as we mentioned. He is the first before any existence. What is the benefits that we can take from the name of Allah, the Al-Awwal, to call him by his name? And this is will be repeated, as we mentioned, every name of Allah that we know the names, because we want to call when we make supplication for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to know where to choose the name that will help me, and also to obey Allah's commands, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in Surah Al-Isra, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. All to all, the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala belongs to the beautiful names of Allah. It belongs to Allah, and Allah wants you to worship him by his names. So when I'm telling you every time with every different names that you have to call Allah or to do supplication by such name, you have to do it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also he ordered us to do that. This is number one. Number two, what I got benefit from such a name in my life, or what will be the application of such a name in my life? To be the first. All the time to put in my mind to be the first. As a Muslim, you have to be first in everything. First in your study, first in your career, first in your challenges. Everything you are facing, you have to be well prepared for it. It means that being a Muslim, you have to well present a Muslim, especially when you are in Western countries, and also in Muslim countries. It should be in everywhere. To have a target on front of your eyes, and you have to reach this target, to reach as much as success you can do, and you do as much efforts you can do, and then leave everything after that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will help you, he will guide you. This is the message I'm giving to my daughters in the universities and in the colleges and in the schools. You have to put the challenges and the careers and the studies they are doing to be the first. If there is anything you can have to competition or challenge or whatever, you have to score the first rank. This is very important. Number two, to be first to proper worshipping, since in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering us to do worshipping, so I have to be the first in doing such worshipping, to have the prayer on time. For example, the Maghrib or I will not leave the Asr till the Maghrib, I will not leave the Dhuhr till the Asr. On every time I have to be very strict to my prayer, except of course if I have an obligatory thing that I have to delay, but it's the basic and the role is to do the prayers on time, to do the zakah on time. People who have money, they are not, sometimes they are postponing zakah from year to year, maybe next year, maybe no. Every year you have, if you have a zakah money, you have to spend this charity and this zakah. This is an examples of how to worship Allah. There are many examples, okay, but for the sake of time, we'll not go through it. I'm just giving you a hint. To be the first to support others. This is very important, that to be, when someone needs your help, you have to go. You have to show yourself. You have to help others. Because actually a Muslim, a good Muslim, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 103, and let there be rising from you a nation, inviting to good, advising what's right and forbidding what's wrong, and those will be the successful. This is what we find it in Al-Imran, which means that the first to advise people to do right things and warn them from doing bad deeds, those are the successful in life and hereafter. So this ayah is very important for us to see that how proper Muslim and should react with his Muslim brothers and with community. And from this meaning, we can go to the next point, which is the positive. How to be positive towards your family, towards your relative, towards your community. You have to advise others. If you have an extra information, you have a proper, of course, you have to advise when you have a proper information. It's not just, you will, and this is very important point I would like to stress on, especially in Ramadan, for the sisters and for my daughter, that sometimes the messages on the WhatsApp is coming, which is improper, about the Sunnah, about the Quran, about the tafsir of the explanation of the Quran. Sometimes it's wrong. or wrong way, and sometimes they just put a name of one of the sheikhs or scholars to make it authenticated. So please take care about these things. You have to take your informations from the proper references of the Quran and the proper Sunnah or the Sunnah Sahiha. Not from the WhatsApp, not from the Facebook, not from these sources, because in such sources anyone can write anything. This is very important. So taking your sources and make upon them, you will have the advice to others. To be proactive, trying to fix any errors. This is one of the benefits that we learn from the name of Allah Al-Awwal. If you are in any place, you should fix it in a proper way. You are, as a Muslim, you are not agreed to stay in a dirty place or a place it's not properly organized. This is a message for our daughters now. They are at home in the lockdown with their families. You have to take care of your place. You have to help your mothers and to clean the place you are in, and try to clean everything you can do to make everything organized. Even if you are at school, organize your table, your desk, any place you are in. You have to be different. You will not go or out without making your print or your error, or your print or your effect on this place by properly fixing and organizing it. To be first to improve, this is as we mentioned from the previous points, and also to encourage others to improve. This is very important because people like to see a good model in front of them. So it's not enough to be a good model. You have to encourage others to improve, because by time, if you encourage your friends and friends encourage others, and so we'll see the whole Muslim family will progress by the good things and the good deeds. And as we know now, and it is a reality that we are living in, only the first developed countries or persons are respected internationally. The one who are weak, the one who are ignorant, the one who are not doing civilizations in their countries, or not doing creations or something good, they will not be respected by others. Now we go to the other name, Al-Akhir. What is the meaning of Al-Akhir, or the last? What is the last? The last is the one who is the last and ultimate. He is the one who remains after the creation perishes, and the one beyond whom there is nothing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remain after all the creations will perish, and this will happen after Yawm al-Qiyamah, or the day of judgment, when all the creation will be died, or will be by the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it will be only Allah. And at that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, لِمَنِ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمِ لِلَّهِ الْوَاحِدِ الْقَهَّارِ. Who will take the kingdom of the whole world? It is for only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah will remain after all creation will die and or perishes, and even the one beyond whom there is nothing, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will stay where nothing is present but Him. Again, we have the same ayah. I wish that all you can memorize it. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. And the same, the Prophet Muhammad, the same hadith, that Allah, he's calling Allah, oh Allah, you are the first without any preceding you. And this is what we mentioned in the first, that He is the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the first, that no one is before Him. And here the name we have, you are the last. What is you are? There is no one to succeed you. No one will remain after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will be only Allah. The benefits of the name of Allah Al-Akhir, again, to call Him by His name, Al-Akhir. And what is the benefits from the name of Allah Al-Akhir, or the last? To believe that all people will be returned to Allah, to be accountable for their deeds. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the day of judgment, after the end of life, all people will be gathered to have their accountability accounted for their deeds by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So This is the first or the second benefits that to know. Usually we will find it. I will take the points after the end. You will find it coming after the end. So at the end, to believe that people will be returned at the end of the life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be accountable for their deeds. Also in life, all things will end to Allah to have the final judgment. The final judgment in life and hereafter. And this is important that we're going to the next point, but we'll have to take this ayah with us in Surah Al-Hud, Surah Hud, ayah 1, 2, 3. And to Allah belong the unseen of the heaven and the earth, and to Him will be returned the whole matter. The whole matter is the all issues happening to us during the life. It will be returned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ولله غيب السماوات والأرض وإليه يرجع الأمر كله. The whole matter will be returned back to the final judgment of Allah. To strongly believe that everything in life to occur must be finally approved by Allah. This is very important. It's very, very important that we have to know that everything in life, every minute is passing by us is finally approved by Allah. Everything that's happening to our life is finally approved by Allah. Let me just give you a quick example. If you wish, for example, if you like to go to the faculty of engineer, you are studying in a college and your dream is to be an engineer. And you are dreaming of that and you start doing your studies, everything, and for a reason or some reason, you shifted to another university for design, for example, or architecture faculty or university. So actually, it's the final approval of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You did your best, you studied well, and you did everything but you didn't catch this university. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the final decision of that. You know from your heart it's Allah, what Allah decided, and I have to pleased with Allah's decision about that. And by time you feel yourself that you are very, very interesting in such university, and you discover that you are a fashioner, a great designer, but you didn't know before, and that if you went to engineer university, it will be so hard and many, many things. Your colleagues is telling you, no, it's very bad, we are not, so and so. So this has happened every now and then for all of us. So to be sure that knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the final decision is give you a pleasure in your heart, or to be pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decision. But at the same time, this is the next point, Muslims should be strong and seek for success. Does it mean that I will not just sit in my home and say, no, Allah is not making me, maybe I will not go to this faculty because it's hard, and Allah maybe Allah is not writing for me to go. No, it's not like that. You have to be strong and seek for the success in life, and believing that at the same time His plans, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala plans, will happen. All the plans that you are put in your mind will happen only by the approval of Allah. Whether these plans is going to your wishes or not. Sometimes what you wish, yeah, I know people that wherever they wish happens. The faculty they want, the man they married, the children, or yani subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them a blessed life. But even though those people, it's not by their efforts. Yes, they did the efforts. Yes, they thought for their the success. But at the end, it will be the approval of Allah. So I have to put this very, very important to be in my mind, that everything will happen by the approval of Allah. Why? Because He is al-akhir, or the last. Everything in the last will return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we'll go to the two other names actually, and I took both of them at the same time because, as I mentioned, they are very related to each other. And at the beginning, if you are going to see, you may see there is some of contrast between them, but this will be vanished after we finish, inshallah, our explanation. Al-Zahir, all outward. Al-Batin, all inward. Okay, what is the story? All outward. What is the meaning of all outwards? The one that nothing is above him. Nothing is above him. He is the all outwards. He exists without a place. He is exalted subhanahu. His existence is obvious by proofs, and he's clear from the delusions of attributes of bodies. So again, the outwards is the one that nothing is above him. And he is also obvious, very obvious, although that there is no place for him, but he's very obvious and very clear for all of us, without seeing a body or frame or figuring out. No, we cannot see that. But we cannot see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How we can see Allah? This is what we're going to have next slide. For the definition of all inwards, he is the one from whom nothing is hidden. Nothing is hidden from him, and who surrounds all the things, and he knows even the inner state, yet he is veiled from the creation's perception. So the inwards is the one whose nothing is hidden and surrounds all the things. He knows even the inner states of everything, yet he is veiled from their creation perception. Again, our evidence from the Quran and Sunnah, the same ayah we said, هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم, and from the Prophet's hadith. Here, the definition came from Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. You are the outward, the all outward, with none being above you, no one above Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are all inwards with nothing more penetrating than you, which means that nothing hidden behind you. So this is the two names together, that Allah is nothing above him as all outward or al-zahir, and al-batin, or the all inward, by nothing more penetrating. He is the most inner, the most inner state with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The benefits that we can take from names of Allah, the all outwards and the all inwards. Again, we can call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by his names, the al-zahir, al-batin. And we'll know now what is al-zahir, the benefits, and what is al-batin, the benefits. The benefits of al-zahir, or all outwards. To believe that Allah is present everywhere, but we can't see him by our eyes. And this came in Surah Al-An'am in Ayah 103. Vision perceives him not, but he perceives all vision. And he is the subtle, the acquainted. لا تدركه الأبصار وهو يدرك الأبصار. يبقى إذن here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in Quran that he sees all of us, but we couldn't see him. So to believe that everything present, but we can't see Allah, but he's present. So how we can see his presence? In number 2, to know that we can see Allah by observing his great creativity and ultimate ingenuity in his creatures. If you are every time, every morning, the one of you who are memorizing or reading the last juz of Quran, juz 30, you will find many authors happened, and Allah swears by the Layl and Nahar, Al-Shams, Al-Qamar, all these are creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to draw our attentions of his creatures, the sun, the moon, the planet, the sky, the stars, the ocean, extra. So we have many things actually. If you're going to take only the insect kingdom or the plant kingdom, and how many plants, how many families, and each family, what is the characters and how they are taking their nutrients and how they having the different minerals and different types. It's a long story. It's a huge story. This is only in the plant kingdom. If you go to the animal kingdom, the same. If you go to the marines, to the sub-oceans, or what's happening in the coral reefs and all these things. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us, as people who have mind, we have to come to his existence. We have to know that he is present. He's present in everything we are seeing. He's present in the trees. He's present, of course, not he's present as, but I mean his creations. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one can create like what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even though if the people uh, think that there is, I mean, of course, the disbelievers, that there are other idols or other gods. So who can just take the advantage of creating all these things? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our Quran is telling us, I am the one. I am the one who created everything. If there is any other who can compare to me, is there any other who can challenge me and say, even the atheists, even the greatest atheists, they cannot say that we can create a small insect or a small mosquito. They cannot even make a DNA. They cannot do anything. So everything is very obvious to all of us, that is shouting to us, crying to us that there is a creator. This is what we can see in the creation around us. But just what we need and what Allah needs from us is to look with focusing, to look with attention. Not the same tree I am walking every day and I'm not caring about, not the same way, not the same sky, the same sun. I have to be take more time for more relaxing and focusing, and this will help us more to feel the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can see Allah also in ourselves, how to eat, how the food is transferred in your stomach, in your intestine, how to be absorbed to your blood, how the drinking happens, when you are drinking, the epiglottis is closed over the trachea, which is the pathway of the air, not to prevent suffocation while you are drinking, while you are eating. Who did this? All planning and all designing? It's Allah, the great designer, the great fashioner. If you go to the embryo life, even in embryo life is another story. This is very important to read. That's why I'm telling you, read. It will help much by reading and knowing the many creations and the favors of Allah on us. Our application of that name, Al-Zahir, or the all outwards, is to show Allah our proper worship for Him, to follow His commands, and to support others, and to avoid His prohibition. This is one of the implications of such name on our life, to show our worship to Allah. Now we come to the name of Allah all inwards, which is Al-Batin. Al-Batin, this is, as we mentioned, that no one can penetrating. He is the most inner to everything, enveloping or encompassing everything, to believe that there are secrets present in all creations of Allah, that only Him, He knows, and other hidden things left for scientists to discover. This is very important. Maybe the people are living all the life and didn't know what's happening under the ocean by 20 or 30 kilometers. What will happen? What's even in our earth or down to the earth? So it is the secret of Allah that no one knows but Allah. But there are other types of secrets that been left, like in Surah Ar-Rahman. إن استطعتم أن تنفذوا من يا معشر الجن والإنس, for all the human and the jinn, if you can penetrate through the ages or the ages of the heaven and the earth, you will not do except with the permission of Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permitted for that scientists to discover what's in the universe, and for those astronomy planets, all these things we discovered because Allah gave the permission to be discovered by such scientists. And such scientists, what they did actually, they discovered, just be focused on that, discovered. They didn't invent it, they didn't originate it, they didn't create it, they just discovered what already created by Allah, and gave the permission for them to discover. From the also the all inwards, we can feel the response of it in our heart, especially in Ramadan during the night prayer when we do supplication. After doing supplication, all of us, we can feel the serenity and the quietness after doing this dua, which means that it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He is feeling for us, or he's responding. We can feel the response of Allah in our hearts, which is a very inner to us. Also to believe that all inwards know His closest secrets, your closest secrets. Sometimes you have a close secret that no one knows but yourself. Be sure that Allah is knowing that secret, and He knows that secret. And if it is something wrong, you usually go for forgiveness and ask forgiveness, and Allah only will forgive you. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do for the believers in the day of judgment, when He will bring them and tell them, you did that in that day and you did that in that day. No one knows, but I know. And I covered these things on you during the life, so I will cover it now for you and I will forgive you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not treat the believer like the disbeliever. The disbelievers, their bad deeds will be like a video show for all the people in the day of judgment. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, it will be a big scandal for them, big scandal, that all the people will see what is the bad deeds they do in their life. But for the believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cover on them and will forgive them and will not make anyone knows their bad deeds they did. See how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us. To believe that there will be always hidden wisdom of Allah through all events happen to you. And this is usually happening when, as I mentioned, if you are planning to go for some place but you didn't go, you go for other place. So this sometimes a hidden wisdom that you discovered, as we mentioned, the same example of this faculty. When you went to another faculty, you discovered the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that give you this opportunity because of your capabilities is much more, will be more clear in such university. So this is a hidden wisdom of Allah. And the most important benefits for the name of Allah, all inwards, is to have a good heart with devotion and purified intention only for the sake of Allah and not for any other else, because Allah is the most inner and Allah will know everything. So your heart should be very clear, very pure. And this is what I am advising the final message for all these meanings. That the first name is Al-Awwal, to be the first in everything, to be positive, to help others, to search for the prosperity of Islam. Al-Akhir, to know that everything you are doing in life with Allah have the final decision in it. So keep doing effort, keep strong, but knowing that Allah will have the final decision. The name all outwards is to show you Allah your proper worship. فَأَرِوا اللَّهَ مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ خَيْرًا. Show Allah from yourself good by proper worshipping of Allah with different ways of worshipping. All inwards, that your heart, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, there is a body organ. If it is pure, all the body will be pure. And if it's it's bad, all the organs will be bad. It is the heart. So please, your heart, take care of your heart and make everything for the sake of Allah and not because of the people will say he is good, he's doing his he's praying or whatever. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى يتقبل منا ومنكم. I came to the end of my presentation. سبحانك الله بحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. If you have